morning coffee. So good. I can set this down without shaking my camera. Hello, and welcome back to the 40-day upload challenge and embracing the race. It's day 32. I actually checked before I got on here to see what day it was on. Kind of a cloudy, gloomy morning, but it's good. I like to sit cozy up in this chair with my coffee and do this type of thing and just ease into my day. That's a good way to put it on days like this. Today's devotion is a really good one called God's Timing. She starts with the verse from Proverbs, which I think we've actually talked about this verse before in a previous day, but it's from Proverbs chapter 16, verse 9. In his heart, a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. So she tells the story of her first marathon, and I feel like this is going to be me, hopefully soon, with my first marathon. But she, had set a goal for herself. Really, for her first marathon, her goal was just to finish the race, not in any particular time or whatever pace. She just wanted to finish the race, and she was really excited. She was feeling good. So she starts off, and she had her run-walk interval that felt really comfortable for her. And then towards the halfway mark, she really started looking at her watch and her time and her pace and all that. And when she reached the half marathon mark, she did some math in her head, and she's like, okay, I finished that first half in 2.5 hours. So surely I can finish this whole thing in 5. But I'll give myself half an hour buffer just in case my pace slows. So I'm going to try to finish this 5.5 hours. So she keeps going, and she's feeling really good. And she reaches, she says she reaches mile 20, feeling good. And she mentions that, and this is, I think, the case with a lot of marathon training plans, you only ever go up to 20 miles in a training plan. So she's talking about how from this point forward, it's the unknown. She had never ran past 20 miles in any of her training, but she felt she'd still be able to do that 5.5 hours. So she reaches mile 21, looking at her watch, and she realizes that she's starting to slow down a little bit, but she's not too worried because she gave herself that extra half-hour buffer to finish in 5.5 hours. And as she reaches mile 22, one of her legs really starts to get tired, so she slows down a little bit more, and then her other leg starts to get tired, so she slows down even more. And not too long, instead of doing her 5-minute, 1-minute run walk, has it reversed. She's only running for a minute and walking for 5 because her legs were starting to give out. And she says that she was kind of disappointed, but then she remembered, or God reminded her of her original goal was just to finish the race, which she did. And then she relates this to life. She says, how often do we make plans according to our own calculations? How often do we expect life to go a certain way based upon what we've already experienced, like the first half of that race? She had never actually ran 26 miles, but based on that first half, she thought, oh, this will be a breeze to finish in a particular time. Maybe we think we'll reach a specific goal in a short time, but later we realize it's taking much longer. Or we expect God to answer our prayers by a certain time. That last sentence, I think we all do that at one point in our lives or another, that we try to put God on a timetable. It does never work. But her whole purpose in this is that, we have to trust God's timing because he sees the big picture. She says, God's ways are better than our ways. His timing is perfect. He is never late. Nothing takes him by surprise, thank goodness. He is ultimately in control of everything. All right, the questions. Have you ever expected to finish a run in a certain time? All the time. Recall a time when an answered prayer came later than you expected. My favorite story is when I was graduating from college and was looking for a job. This is how I ended up where I'm living now. About halfway through my second semester senior year, when I was applying for jobs, I applied for a job at the school where I currently live now. I don't work there anymore, but back when I first moved here. But I applied, this is like I said, middle semester, so early spring, and I'd gotten a call back to see if I was still interested, and I said yes. And the person said that, okay, I wasn't able to take the phone interview right then because I was at my internship. So I was like, can you please call me back at such and such time, and I would love to do the phone interview. Well, I never got a call back. Months passed, and I was like, well, oh, man, I should have taken that interview at that moment when I was at my internship. I'm sure the person I was interning for would have been fine with it, but I didn't, and I blew that one. Didn't hear anything. Months and months. And so we're at the end of the semester. Graduation is a few days. And I was actually at my college ministry, Wesley. I was at one of our weeknight worship things. And I remember they had all the seniors get up and, give all the underclassmen a piece of advice. And I was talking about this, and I said, I don't know, as of right now, I'm graduating in a few days and don't know what I'm doing, but I know that God's going to take care of it. I just have to do what I'm going to do. My resume's out there. I've applied for jobs, and he's going to put me where he wants me. The next day after, and this is months after I had heard from the person that was going to interview me, this is months. The next day after that worship night, I get a call that they're still interested and they want to fly me up for an in-person interview. And I just took that as just an example that I'm sharing now like this, just stepping out in faith and knowing that God's going to take care of it. And that's where he wanted me, was up here, but I just had to trust in his timing. And it's all worked out. I met my husband up here. I now have, him and my whole family. And this is where I was meant to be. But he wanted me to be patient, I think was one of the key things he was teaching me, to be patient in his timing, because I'm not a very patient person. So that's one of my favorite answered prayers that came later than I expected. Were you able to see God's timing in that situation? Why I had to wait all those months, I don't know. Like I said, I think maybe he was just teaching me patience. But I know this is where he wanted me to be. And that's just how he chose to work out that situation. Where am I? I'm sitting in my chair. That's not what the question is. Where in your life are you struggling to trust God's timing right now? The classic answer, when is all this COVID gonna go away? Come on now. Yes. I would love for life to get back to normal. And, to not have it, where I live, a lot of people don't really wear masks in stores anymore. I still do. And I honestly would feel weird about going into a grocery store without a mask on. But I'm getting ready to turn 34. So for the first 32, 33 years of my life, wearing a mask wasn't a thing, and now it is. Oh my goodness. So he's got his timing. Everything's going to work out, but goodness, it seems like it's taking a long time. So stuff like that. I'm not a patient person. All right. So and it's okay to have imperfections. Nobody's perfect, and that is one of mine. But she ends with a verse from Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, declares the Lord. And that whole section from Isaiah is a really good one, the verses before and after. His ways aren't our ways, thoughts higher than our thoughts. It really is. I love this, people say this a lot. I love that he is not a God that I can understand. Because if I can understand him, he that's bringing him down to the human level. He is infinite. He's all-knowing. He, control. I want a God that is, what's the way, how to put this? I want a God that is, so unbelievably amazing and powerful that I cannot understand it. I don't want a God that's down on this level right here. I want him up here. The amazing God that he is. That is the God that I want, and so glad I have. So that's a good one, and sometimes a hard thing for us is God's timing, but he does know what he's doing. So I hope that everyone is doing well today, and we're in the home stretch of this 40-day thing. Only a few more to go, so I'm gonna be sad when it's over. But I tell you what, this daily thing is it keeps me accountable for doing stuff like this, which I appreciate. So I will see everybody tomorrow.